President Droupadi Murmu, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, is taking to the skies today in a Rafale fighter jet from the Ambala Air Force Station. Her second combat sortie after piloting a Sukhoi 30 MKI in Tezpur, Assam, back in April 2023. This milestone flight honors a storied base, Ambala, home to the elite No. 17 Golden Arrows Squadron, coordinated the daring Operation Sindoor strikes in May this year. Precision Rafale assaults on terror camps and 11 Pakistani air bases, avenging the Pahalgam attack and reshaping regional deterrence. Briefings on defense readiness follow, underscoring Murmu's hands-on leadership. A proud moment for the nation. Watch the jets thunder. Joining me on the broadcast is my colleague Aman Kapoor. Aman, please take us through these visuals that are coming in straight from Ambala. All right, we'll try to get Aman back on the line with us. However, viewers, on your screens, you can see the president over there at the Ambala Air Base, and she is going to take a sortie in that Rafale fighter jet. And this is in fact her second combat aircraft that she has done a sortie in. She did a sortie in a Sukhoi 30 MKI fighter jet in 2023, and she's following the footsteps of her predecessors as well, former presidents Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam and Pratibha Patil, who had also taken sorties in a Sukhoi 30 MKI fighter jet. Remember, viewers, why Rafale is important right now, because the fleet played a very significant role during Operation Sindoor. And Operation Sindoor, as you all know, was conducted in response to the Pahalgam terror attack on April 22nd. And the operation itself was launched on May 7th, and it targeted terror infrastructures in areas under Pakistan's control, and it concluded after 4 days of intense clashes on May the 10th. Now, remember that the first batch of 5 Rafale fighter jets arrived from France on July 27th, 2020, and they were inducted into the Indian Air Force's 17th Squadron, which is also known as the Golden Arrows, based in Ambala. Joining me on the phone line is my colleague Yash Ahuja. Yash, take us through these visuals where Droupadi Murmu is all set to take that sortie in a Rafale.
Ani, as you can see on your screens, on the left side of your screens, President Murmu is set to take to the skies. Now, this is a very important development, as this comes from Air Force Station in Haryana's Ambala. Now, Ambala Air Force Station is one of the most important air bases in the country, and this is the place from where whole of Operation Sindoor was coordinated by the Indian Air Force. Rafale jets were used during Operation Sindoor, that was launched by India in response to the dastardly 22nd April Pahalgam terror attack. Now, let me give you a little history. Former presidents APJ Abdul Kalam and Pratibha Patil had also undertaken sorties in Sukhoi 30 MKI aircraft at the very same Air Force Station. Now, Pratibha Patil undertook another sortie in another Sukhoi 30 MKI at an Air Force Station in Lohegaon, Pune. So, you see there is a pattern. Every president and prime minister of our nation takes a sortie in an aircraft to show India's aerial might. Now, remember, on April 8, 2023, President Murmu undertook another sortie in Sukhoi Mk-30 fighter aircraft at the Tejpur Air Force Station in Assam. Visuals on your screens showing the Rafale lining up to the runway to take to the skies. Now this is obviously President's second sortie in an aircraft. Now let's talk a little bit about Rafale. So Rafale was manufactured by French aerospace major Dassault Aviation, and it was formally inducted into the Indian Air Force in September 2020 at the exact same Air Force Station in Ambala. The first 5 Rafale aircraft, which arrived from France on July 27, were inducted in the 17th Squadron, called the Golden Arrows. Now, Ambala Air Force Base is the home of this very squadron. And as I told you previously, Rafale jets were used in Operation Sindoor, which was launched on May 7, to destroy several terror infrastructures in Pakistan.
Absolutely, Yash. I think the viewers have to remember that this is a very historic sortie by our president over there. Rafale has proven its capabilities in Operation Sindoor, and it has shown how precise it can attack into the enemy territory, and it played a very important role in that Operation Sindoor after Pahalgam attack, and now it's actually proving to be a deterrence in the neighborhood because the fighter jet actually has such great capabilities. Remember, this is also the first president to be in a French-made aircraft, to take that sortie in this French-made advanced fighter aircraft. So we will shortly see that aircraft actually taking off into the skies, and she will become the first president to be taking a sortie in an advanced French-made fighter aircraft. So clearly a very historic moment for India over here, and also a very significant moment because Rafale has time and again, since it was inducted into the Indian Air Force, it has proven its capabilities, and President Murmu, remember, also conducted an inspection, and now the time has come for a sortie. So this is one of the most advanced jets in the Indian Air Force fleet, and Ambala Air Force Station serves as the primary base for the Rafale squadron in India. Remember, viewers, that during this entire visit, apart from the inspection, the president was also briefed by the officers on the jet's technology, the operational systems, and the safety protocols that are currently there. She is also expected to interact with officers and airmen over there to discuss national defense preparedness and women's participation in the armed forces, which is very important currently. I want to go across again to my colleague Yash. Yash, we have just been talking about how important and significant Rafale is in the Indian Air Force's fleet, and also how the president's actually visit is very significant because she is going to talk about women's participation, and we have been hearing how women fighter pilots have been taking the lead in various operations across the country.
Yes, Shivani, you very rightly pointed out that the president will talk about various women involvement in the Indian Air Force. The greatest, brightest example in recent times of this was when an Indian Air Force top leader a woman leader was chosen as the face to give press conferences during Operation Sindoor. Now, talking about Operation Sindoor and Pakistan in retrospect, Ambala Air Force Base is a very important air base if you look at it. In both 1965 and 1971 wars, this exact Air Force base was attacked by the Pakistani Air Force. So in 1965, Pakistani struck Ambala and destroyed some 25 planes. And in 2019 also, on February 26, 2019, when for Balakot airstrikes, the Mirage fighters that took took to skies to destroy those terror bases, took off from the Ambala Air Base. So visuals on your screens, Rafale has taken to skies. You can see it is a blurry visual, but this Rafale has taken to skies. President Murmu is undergoing a second sortie as we speak. Back to you.
Absolutely, Yash. I think even though the skies are blurry, but the emotion is very high, and over there we can see that President Murmu has taken that sortie. She is soaring to the skies in that Rafale aircraft, which is a very historic moment. Remember, viewers, that Rafale, our Defence Minister Rajnath Singh had flown a sortie in a Rafale aircraft when it was inducted into the 17th Squadron of the Indian Air Force, the Golden Arrows, in around 2020. And so this is a very historic moment where we are seeing the President now taking that sortie, and it comes at a very opportune time because of Operation Sindoor and what a role Rafale actually played in that entire operation. Remember, we were very precise in our attacks. They were targeted, missile attacks over there in the enemy territory. So clearly a very historic moment for our country, and as well as for this entire Indian Air Force fleet, because it is time and again proving its capabilities in this region. And as we have been pointing out, Ambala Air Force Station is also very strategic, and that's why the Rafale actually was inducted at this specific Air Force Station into the Golden Arrows Squadron because of its strategic location over there, and it's very close obviously to the border areas. It makes it easier to command and control an operation when it's near the border areas. So clearly a very important place, and that's even during Operation Sindoor, the entire air operations had been headquartered here at Ambala. So those precision Rafale assaults on the terror camps were all organized, thought of and planned from this Ambala Air Force Station. So clearly, viewers, a very historic moment coming in. We have live visuals from Ambala over there. I will go back to my colleague Yash, who will take us through some more details on this developing story. Yash, over to you.
Visuals on your screens, the Rafale has taken to the skies. Speaking of Rafale, let's talk a little bit about Rafale. Rafale is a very important, is a very important aircraft for the Indian Air Force. It is also inducted in the Egyptian Air Force and the French Air Force. So Rafale is distinct, from other European fighters of its era, and it is almost built entirely by one country, that is France. And it is made by Dassault, Thales and Safran combined. So Safran provides the engines, Dassault provides the entire body, and Thales is the one that provides the important equipment, the electrical equipment that is required. So let's speak about avionics. So many of the aircraft avionics, such as the direct voice input, is a up to mark radar. So it is not just a simple radar. It is very different from what other fighter jets have been using since 2008-2009, and introduced in 2001. The Rafale is being produced for both French Air Force and French Navy. It has also been marketed to the Qatar Air Force, the Hellenic Air Force, Croatian Air Force, Indonesian Air Force and the UAE Air Force. So Rafale is considered one of the most advanced and capable warplanes in the world and amongst the most successful internationally. Now, speaking about its success, Rafale has been used in multiple combats. So it has been used in combats over Afghanistan, Libya, Mali, Iraq, Syria and obviously Pakistan. So if you remember, during Operation Sindoor, there were reports coming out that Pakistan has downed a Rafale jet. Pakistan has downed many Rafale jets, but those were obviously hoax reports, and those were used by Pakistan as a some sort of propaganda.
Absolutely, Yash. I think the viewers have to remember that why the Rafale is very important for India is because it's a generational multi-role fighter jet. It's not just a singular performing role fighter jet. It's a multi-role fighter jet. It's capable of performing air-to-air combat, air-to-ground strikes, and even reconnaissance missions. So there are various activities that can be planned through this Rafale aircraft, and like you rightly pointed out, that its advanced avionics and the radar and the electronic warfare system actually allow it to dominate the entire aerial engagements if it's deployed. So clearly an edge over all our neighbors. You have to remember that Pakistan operates currently F-16s. China usually uses a J-20 stealth fighter. So what gives Rafale the edge is that it has a technological and tactical edge over these F-16s and over these J-20 stealth aircrafts, and its long-range Meteor air-to-air missile, which has a range of over 150 kilometers, and the Scalp cruise missile, which has a range of around 300 kilometers. It is providing India with that deep strike capability even from its borders. So remember, I think we need to go back to that press conference that was held by the Indian Air Force officials, where they detailed the entire process that took place during Operation Sindoor, and they stated how India was able to strike very deep into enemy territory, around 306 kilometers. So Rafale is one aircraft that can actually give you that capability. It is giving India that deep strike capability of going and attacking over 300 kilometers into the enemy territory. Also, it's very seamless when you integrate it with the other aircrafts in the Indian Air Force fleet. So remember, it's very important that all the aircrafts perform harmoniously when you're looking at the entire fleet of the Indian Air Force. So when we look at a Sukhoi M30 MKI, Sukhoi 30 MKI, or we look at a Mirage 2000, then a Rafale jet actually integrates very seamlessly into this entire fleet, and it creates a very potent mix of air combat platforms. So that's very important to look at. That's a very important point to look at when we are looking at the entire fleet per se of the IAF, and why it proves to give India that edge that India needs in this neighborhood. Also, they can act as Rafale, like we have pointed out, that it can act as an airborne command node. Why this is important is that it can share targets or sensor data with other aircraft in real time through secure networks. So what happens is, if there is if there are other aircrafts in that entire region during an operation, this seamless connectivity and communication when you want to share a target location or when you want to share sensor data with other aircraft, this comes into picture, and it's very, very crucial for conducting such operations. And we clearly saw that during Operation Sindoor, when all of this was actually being conducted in a real-time war-like scenario. Yash, I want to go back to you if you have some more details on this aircraft. I think we are now cutting across live to those visuals over there coming in from Ambala.
Visuals on your screen, President sitting inside the Rafale jet. This is a second fighter jet sortie after her Sukhoi Mk-30 sortie in 2023. The plane is about to take to the skies. We are just at the juncture where the launch is set to take place. Now remember, she is the second woman leader of the state. She is second woman president to take a fighter jet sortie. It has not happened in India before. It was in 2013, and now in 2025 we see President Droupadi Murmu taking to the skies in the Rafale jet. Live visuals on your screens. Back to you.
Absolutely, viewers, I think this is a very historic moment that we are witnessing right now over there. Droupadi Murmu inside that cockpit of the Rafale fighter jet, and it is soon going to take to the skies. It's taxiing on the runway, and we will see that historic moment when the president of our country actually flexes in the sky with that advanced fighter jet. All right, and I also want to remind our viewers why this is very important is because Rafale is designed for multi-environment missions, and it can operate even from high altitude locations. We have air bases in Leh and Srinagar, which is crucial for defense along the Ladakh and Tibetan border. So it outsets that entire Chinese aggression on that side of our country. And we have already seen how good it fared during Operation Sindoor when we were dealing with Pakistan on this side of the border. Yash, I want to understand, the Rafale is also capable of carrying out nuclear missions. So this acts as a big deterrence in our region, in this, entire geopolitical, theater that we have going on here in the Indian subcontinent.
As you rightly pointed out, this acts as a nuclear deterrent. Remember, Pakistan has been notoriously giving nuclear threats towards India, and a Rafale jet is the apt deterrent. Now let me just take you through some details of this aircraft. Our president will take to the skies at a maximum speed of Mach 1.8, that is 1.8 times larger than the speed of light. And it is at a low altitude, the maximum speed of this aircraft is around 750 knots, which is 0.75 Mach. And this shows how capable this aircraft is, and it also shows what our presidents, our leaders desire to show to the world what Indian Air Force is all about, what our might in the sky is all about.
Absolutely, Yash, and I think one more important point that we need to introduce to our viewers is we have been, all right, I will come across to you. However, I want to go across to Group Captain UK Devnath, former Indian Air Force officer, who's joining us on this broadcast. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We appreciate your time. We are getting these historic visuals, sir, from the Ambala Air Force Base. Our president is going to do that sortie in a Rafale aircraft. Your first comments on it, sir.
Joyous occasion for Indian Air Force. We are so proud to find a Supreme Commander of Armed Forces amongst us. Air Force Station Ambala is one of the oldest Air Force stations of Indian Air Force. It started operating before Second World War, and it hosts two of the best fighter aircraft of Indian Air Force. That is Jaguar. It started hosting from 1980s onward, and now Rafale. We have two squadrons of Rafale with us, one in Ambala and one in East in Hashimara. Definitely Rafale happens to be one of the best fighter aircraft in world and has been deployed operationally in many air forces. During Sindoor, it gave a yeoman's performance in keeping Pakistan Air Force on back foot. When Supreme Commander President Droupadi Murmu is flying this aircraft, messaging goes to all the youth of the nation that look, here is a vibrant democracy where the topmost echelons of the leadership, president, prime minister, defense minister, they fly in a fighter aircraft. All the youth will get motivated. School children, boys, girls, children in colleges, young men, young women, that once they grow up, they must join armed forces and get a golden opportunity to serve the nation. When the President Droupadi Murmu is flying this fighter aircraft, one more message goes to the world that women in India have arrived. They are leading Indian armed forces from front. Not only Supreme Commander of our armed forces is a woman, she also leads from front by flying in a fighter aircraft. What a glorious day. I must definitely tell the viewers that today all the Indian Air Force bases, all operational crew, all technical crew, they are glued to their television. They are so happy and they are highly motivated to look at their Supreme Commander flying the best and the latest fighter aircraft of their Air Force. Definitely, it will motivate all air warriors, Navy sailors and Army soldiers. Yes.
Absolutely, sir. I think you have rightly pointed out, and this forms a very important visit for the President as well. Like you rightly pointed out, that she will also be talking about and discussing the role of women fighter pilots majorly, because even during Operation Sindoor, we had reports, obviously though unconfirmed, that there were women, fighter pilots over there who led the operations in these aircrafts, and going forward India is looking at more women involvement in such combat roles, sir.
Definitely, there is absolutely no doubt that women pilots started joining Indian Air Force in 1993 onward, and since then gradually their numbers have increased. Our women pilots have started flying fighter aircraft 4 years ago, and every commanding officer is so proud of their performance in fighter squadron. I must tell you that there are plans that in next 1 and next 2 decades, we are gradually going to increase the number of women fighter pilots in our Air Force. And probably very soon, another 5 or 10 years, we should see one of the women's fighter pilot becoming flight commander of a fighter squadron. Similarly, we look for horizon where within next 15 years, one of the women fighter pilots will be commanding a fighter squadron. It will be a glorious day for the nation.
Absolutely, sir. I think we are already witnessing glorious days with so many women fighter pilots and women in combat roles. However, we want to understand how important and significant Rafale actually is for the Indian Air Force fleet. We have been pointing out to our viewers that it is one of the most advanced fighter jets over there. And it also gives India that deterrence that it wants in a nuclear powered geostrategic location like our neighborhood, sir.
No doubt that Rafale is a good deterrent as far as our western and northern enemy is concerned. Their nuclear installations, they are within our radar, and if push comes to shove, then Rafale is a excellent platform to deliver air-to-ground weapons so as to shake up the enemy's nuclear capabilities. Rafale has got best of the Asia radars. What happens that this radar can locate, Rafale air-to-air radar can locate an enemy aircraft from a distance of 250 kilometers plus. Similarly, it has got air-to-air missile like Meteor, which can shoot down enemy aircraft from a distance of 140 kilometers, 110 kilometers. It has got best, an excellent air-to-ground attack weapon called Hammer, which can destroy enemy ground positions, tanks, concentrations, command posts, underground bunkers from a distance of 80 kilometers. So it will be a game changer in case there is an air-land battle with our northern or western adversary anytime in near future.
Absolutely, sir. I think we saw that during Operation Sindoor, because during one of our briefings, the Indian Air Force officials actually stated that we hit a target that was around 306 kilometers deep inside enemy territory. So it's giving India that capability of deep strike in its neighborhood. But we want to understand that Rafale also is a very seamless, it can act as an air command control center during such operations. It can share data seamlessly with other aircraft in that fleet of the Indian Air Force, like Sukhoi 30 MKI or Mirage 2000. So that also acts as a game changer, sir. All right, I think we've lost that line with Group Captain UK Devnath. However, I thank him for his time. I want to go across to my colleague Yash, who is back with us. Yash, let's discuss how this is a game changer for the India's Make in India program as well. Even though this is a French-made aircraft, but the agreement that we have signed, over there, it talks about technology transfer and also industrial participation. So this is actually helping India's defense sector gain experience in such advanced aerospace systems.
You pointed out very right, but just before I come to your comment, the Rafale has taken to the skies. We just saw on our screens the Rafale line up to the air, to the runway, and take to the skies with India's supreme leader inside the plane. Now, President Droupadi Murmu, as we have spoken multiple times, is the second women president to take a sortie inside the plane. Now, coming to Atmanirbharta and Make in India development program, we've seen how Indian defense projects are being shifted to India, how we are bringing in massive defense boosts since the Operation Sindoor, since 2024, 22 for Pahalgam attack, and this is a very close step. Now we can inspect the Rafales, we can see how they are made, and we can bring that technology to India. The most recent example of this is the BrahMos factory in Lucknow. We just saw previously Defense Minister Rajnath Singh unveil the first batch of those missiles that were firstly jointly made by India and Russia, and now, even though some of the tech is still Russian, but the production, the main production line is now in Lucknow. So yes, it is a major defense boost for India. It is a major boost for Atmanirbharta. It is a major boost for the vision that India has, the Viksit Bharat 2047 visual. The visuals on your screens, Rafale is now taking to the skies with our president inside it. This will be a quick 3.5-minute sortie, as we've been told, and the plane will fly to 1.8 Mach speed. And yes, back to you, Shivani.
Absolutely. I think viewers, right now, that's the historic moment. We saw the Rafale take off to the skies, and we saw that our president, in fact, over there taking a sortie in that advanced fighter aircraft. A very historic moment over there, a 3.5-minute sortie approximately, and but a very historic and significant development over there. That's all that we have for you on this bulletin. However, we'll see you after this commercial break.